Welcome to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Beekman.
Welcome to the Sports Scouting Report. I'm your host, Lee Beekman. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving and hope everybody's having a great weekend. I've got a podcast today that we're going to go ahead and do. I kind of thought about not doing it, but I've got to do it. You know, we've got to keep our podcast going on Fridays, and we had a bonus one this week on Tuesday. Be sure to look at Tuesdays because we didn't email it to everyone on Tuesday. It was a bonus show, and we did the second team All-Louisiana North defense. Today, we're going to do the third team All-Louisiana North defense for high school football players. I'm also going to talk about LSU basketball today and also basketball natives that are playing out of state. Just so if you're a basketball junkie out there and you want to talk some basketball, we're going to talk a little basketball to start the show. And then in the rest of the show, which will be probably almost an hour, we're going to talk about the third team All-Louisiana North team for defense. And then next Tuesday, we're going to talk about the third team All-Louisiana North offense. And next Thursday, we're going to start talking about the All-Louisiana team South offense. And then the following Tuesday, the All-Louisiana South team defense. And the following week, the third teams for South. So it's going to take a little time because there's a lot of kids to talk about. Again, these are not juniors, seniors only. No rankings, just kids that I think are really good football players. If they're second teamers, they're probably going to go 1AA or D1 or junior college or prep schools. If they're a third team kid, they're probably a D3, D2 kid. Some might end up 1AA in the end, but most of them are D3, D2 that I've seen play, and they're good players. You know, a lot of kids can't make third team or second team, but it just goes, and I'll detail why they're on the teams. But I want to go and get started in our first segment. I want to talk about basketball. I'm really excited that college basketball has returned. I had a chance to watch Villanova yesterday, like a lot of you listening. Villanova played a very good Arizona State. I think Arizona State could be the best team in the Pac-12. Again, I haven't seen Arizona this year, and UCLA and USC and Oregon, who's really good, but you know, it's hard to imagine not too many teams in the Pac-12 can be better than Arizona State. That Christopher kid who's 6'5" freshman, he's going to be a first-round pick. He'll be a one and done. They've got a couple of good point guards. And I want to talk about Louisiana natives. Speaking of Villanova, who does a phenomenal job, Jay Wright has won 2 national championships. They're a Final Four team, possibly Sweet 16. They've got 2 Louisiana natives on that team that are the reason they're so good. And if you didn't watch the game yesterday, I want to just kind of let some people know this. And they mentioned it at the end. They didn't mention the connection of one of the kids until the end of the game almost. But Lester Earl, the former LSU basketball and Kansas basketball player Lester Earl, his son is Jeremiah Robinson Earl. And he's a sophomore on the Villanova team as a power forward. And he's special. He was player of the year in Kansas 2 years ago. He was all freshman team in the league last year for Villanova. And he's quietly playing at Villanova to a lot of our Louisiana natives that don't realize this is Lester Earl's son, Jeremiah Robinson Earl. Lester Earl's other son has, been in the news, former LSU wide receiver, Drake Davis. But this is the other son, and he grew up in Kansas. So there is a tie there for Louisiana. Even though he grew up in Kansas, his dad's from Baton Rouge. And then they have Caleb Daniels from St. Augustine High School in New Orleans, who transferred from Tulane. Was in double figures in Tulane and goes to Villanova. He's a starter as a two-guard, 6'4", 210, and is averaging, last night he had 12 points. And he's going to possibly be an NBA guy as well. And it just goes to show you the talent from Louisiana in basketball is strong. If you don't follow basketball, you might say, oh, there's not a lot of talent in Louisiana because we don't hear, there's a lot of talent from Louisiana. in the country, and I'm going to point it out today. Here's some of these names, some of the best in the country at some of the best programs. At Virginia, from Scotlandville High School, Reese Beekman, 6'3" guard, is going to be probably could be an All-American this year, definitely All-Conference in the ACC. Reese Beekman from Scotlandville, 6'3" freshman. LSU offered him. He went to Virginia. Baylor probably a Final Four team, definitely Sweet 16 team. Mark Vittell is from Washington Marion High School. This is going to be his third year to start. He's 6'5", 250, and has a 40-inch vertical jump. He's a senior. And their point guard is a preseason All-American, one of the best players in the country, a first-round pick, Jared Butler from Riverside High School. Jared's 6'3", 195 pounds. I remember watching Jared Butler play football at Riverside. He was a heck of a receiver and defensive back. Jared Butler is one of the top 5 players in the country going into the season as a preseason All-American. At Vanderbilt, from right here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, went to Dunham High School. Jordan Wright, 6'6", 226 pounds, as a starter, as a forward/two guard. Had a great game against LSU last year, and he's got a future possibly in the NBA. At Tulsa, remember former LSU Tiger and Louisiana native from Natchitoches Central High School, Brandon Rochelle. Brandon starts for Tulsa. He's 6'6" now, about 218. He's a forward, two-guard guy that's got a chance to play in a pro somewhere. He reminds me now, he's kind of like an Emmett Williams now, just probably a little bit better. In 2019, before the season was stopped, the season was basically finished last year before the COVID, but they didn't have the tournament. But Brandon averaged 12.1 points a game and 5.8 rebounds a game. And one other kid, and I'm not mentioning them all. This is just a few guys just to throw out. But at Ole Miss, starting at forward this year, transfer from ULL, from Baton Rouge, from University High School, Jalen Johnson, 6'6", 210, small forward. Scored over 1,000 points at ULL, transferred from UL for his senior season at Ole Miss. Jalen Johnson played at University High School. I mean, that's a bunch of big-time players from Louisiana in basketball playing at some great programs in the SEC and all over the country. I want to go and talk LSU basketball when we come back and take a break. And then after that, we're going to talk about the third team, All-Louisiana team, North defense, later in the show. We're going to go take a break. Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you. Welcome back, everyone. Lee Burkeen, your host. Hope everybody's having a great Thanksgiving weekend. It's going to be a lot of football today and tomorrow. Obviously, the LSU will be playing Saturday in Kyle Field, and a lot of colleges will be playing their final game. Some of them their final game of the season, like Tulane, I think, might be almost close to the end of their year. ULL's winding down their season. ULM, hopefully they'll be done soon. It's been a tough year for ULM, and then Louisiana Tech. And then the Southland Conference is about to start up for football. It's crazy. But to talk LSU basketball in this segment, they won their first game of the season last night, scored 94 points. Probably could have been a little worse, but it was the first game of the season. If you know basketball, and I think a lot of our listeners that follow basketball, it takes about 10 games to start finding chemistry among your team. Because in basketball, it's a little different in football for the most part. You have a lot of new teams, a lot of new players every year in basketball. More players go pro. It's more accepted. So you got a lot of more transfers in basketball too. And so you always have a new team, maybe returning one or two guys. And I know fans, they see a lot of talent on the roster at LSU, and they say, they ought to dominate. Well, it was the first game of the season. And these are kids, and they're all new except 3 players. And to score 94 points in the first game, I think it's impressive when you're trying to play 10 players and please everybody. You know, if they would have stuck with the same maybe 5 players like they would in an SEC game, they probably would have scored 115 points. But they were trying to play a lot of young guys, and I think it's going to work out for them. They had, they had some great games from some special players. Cameron Thomas is going to be phenomenal. The freshman 6'4" guard from Chesapeake, Virginia, played at Oak Hill Academy. Oak Hill Academy is one of the greatest prep schools to ever put basketball players out. He's one of the best to ever come out of there, one of the best shooters. He's probably going to, I don't want to say one and done with Cameron. It's too early, but he's definitely got the potential to be a pro player in a year and be a lottery pick. He's special shooting that basketball. He can shoot in many ways. He can drive. He can shoot anywhere on the court, actually. You know, probably the best shooter at LSU since Marcus Thornton. You know, Marcus was a great shooter who was from Terra High School, came from a junior college, played a few years in the NBA. You know, and obviously before Marcus Thornton, to me, this is my opinion, you know, obviously Chris Jackson. Those were two of my favorite shooters to ever play at LSU, were those two. And Howard Hassie Carter before that. Those are my 3 favorite, just pure shooters. And then when Josh LeBlanc gets his eligibility, man, the transfer from Georgetown, that prepped at Madison Prep in Baton Rouge at 6'7", 230, can rebound. He's going to be a force for LSU. He's what LSU needs right now. He's a heck of a rebounder. He'll make a bunch of garbage baskets. He's physical. Reminds me a lot of Brandon Bass. Very, you know, strong, big, strong guy that can run the court. He's got a good shot, you know, under, 6 to 8 feet from the goal. Does a really good job shooting the ball, but just a phenomenal rebounder. And once Josh LeBlanc's eligible and starts playing, and they get Charles Manning back, who's recovering from surgery, all-season surgery. Once Charles Manning comes back as a 2-guard at 6'5", he's another great defensive guy. Once these 2 guys join what they have, man, it's going to be scary what they can do once they get chemistry. You know, the young Monty Wilkinson from Nevada, who's 6'5", 6'6", about 220, who can play small forward or 2-guard, he's going to be phenomenal. They're going to have great options to play many players at the 2-guard position, small forward position. And I think in time, Shaquille O'Neal's son's going to be a good player for the LSU, rebounding. And Josh Gray didn't even play last night, the 7-foot center from Brooklyn, New York. He's probably going to end up playing at some point. And then I think Hyatt is going to end up being a good player. It's just you can't go by the first game of the season. This kid's just now getting a knee brace off. He had knee surgery when he came in. He was kind of wearing that knee brace last year. He finally got the knee brace off. And you got to give him 8 to 10 games. Like I said, basketball's different. You know, the new center, Brian Penn Johnson, 7-foot center from Long Beach, California. He didn't play a lot, but he's trying to get back into shape, and he's going to be a great rebounder again for LSU. Eric Gaines, the freshman guard from Georgia, is going to be a heck of a player. Heck of a player. And then Javonte Smart and Trenton Watford and Darius Days, they're the leaders of the team. And then you throw in Jalen Cook, who comes off the bench for Javonte Smart. Jalen Cook's going to be a heck of a player for LSU as a defensive player, and he can shoot. He had 5 points in limited play last night. But I'm really excited about this team, this LSU basketball team. They're 12 deep once Charles Manning comes back. And once Josh LeBlanc is eligible, because he's sitting out because of the transfer from Georgetown. I watched him at Georgetown. He was phenomenal. Yeah, again, I think he's better than Brandon Bass. Brandon might have had a little bit better shot, a little bit deeper shot than he did, but he's a little better rebounder. He's a little bit better running the court even than Brandon Bass. Just more physical than Brandon had that look. He's got that physique like Brandon Bass did, who played at Capitol, played a long time in the NBA, a few years with the Celtics, a couple other teams. Brandon was about 6'8", about 240. Like I said, Josh is all of 6'7.5", about 230. He's about 6'10" in length. He's going to be a great player for LSU. He's going to be the difference to this team, maybe getting to the Sweet 16 or better, or maybe the Final 8. I think LSU's a Final 8 team. I don't know Final 4, but they're definitely a Final 8 if they hit their potential. There's a lot of good basketball teams. Gonzaga, is phenomenal this year. Kentucky will end up being great. Auburn and Florida will be really good. So will Arkansas at the end of the year in the conference. UNC's back. North Carolina's really good. Virginia will be good again. Baylor, Texas Tech, those are some teams. And then Oregon, obviously Arizona State, and Villanova. Those are some teams that are going to Duke. It's the same characters. But LSU's going to join that group, I think. I think they got a chance to make the Final 8. Last year they did a pretty good job. They weren't able to go play any games in the NCAA tournament. I don't know if they would have won a game last year, if they would have just won one and done. But this team's set to go a long ways this year. We're going to go take a break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the third team North, All-Louisiana team defense when we come back. Looking for a used car? Harvey Autos has 3 dealerships, which means 3 times the used vehicles. They've got everything from fuel-efficient compacts to luxury models, even hybrids, and certified pre-owned with a warranty. Check out John Harvey Toyota, Harvey Subaru, or Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City. Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Scouting Report. I'm your host, Lee Burkeen. Hope everybody's having a great Thanksgiving weekend. Don't eat too much turkey like I did. Hope everybody was able to see family. It's a great time of the year where you get to hang out and sit with family, and I'm just blessed that my mom is here and my stepdad, and I was able to spend some time with them over Thanksgiving. And I know that a lot of families, you just got to be careful. I've been careful for a year. My mom has cancer, so you have to be really careful, and I have to be and I know a lot of people have parents or relatives that have cancer and underlying conditions, so you have to be careful, but I think you still can find a way to hang out and have dinner and eat Thanksgiving food and be able to see them. So I think it's important. But we're going to go ahead and talk about, in this segment, our North Louisiana third team defense. Next Tuesday, we're going to talk about the third team North offense, but we can't do it all in one show. It's just too much. And if I just run through it and just say names only, that's not what people want. You can get that on our website. Our first team offense and defense for South and North's in our magazine, printed over the summer, and you can have that attached, and you'll see it on the internet when these are put up by Jace Lejeune. This Wednesday, we're going to put our South teams up. This Wednesday, we had to delay it a little bit because it's just so much. I mean, it's a ton of information. And we wanted to make sure we didn't leave anybody out. And I'm a stickler for being about as perfect as you can be about getting this right with kids. But let's go ahead and talk about the North All-Louisiana defense third team. Let's start with defensive ends. A kid I like from the Alexandria area, from LaSalle High School, some people say LaSalle, but it's LaSalle, is Peyton Prather. I just like this kid's effort. He made the team because he's a ball hog, man. He's a gamer. He just plays hard. Peyton's about 6'2", about 220, 215, 220, and just gives it his all. He plays offensive line and defensive line. Offensive tackle and linebacker for the team. Plays a little DN. Had 48 tackles for LaSalle in 219. Also a catcher on the baseball team. Can throw the discus 112 feet. And growing up, loved watching LSU, but it plans on attending Louisiana Tech in hopes of getting a business degree. In the weight room, he benches close to 300 pounds, squats 415, power cleans 275. And his favorite NFL player is J.J. Wyatt, Houston Texans, that played for Wisconsin. Continuing on at defensive end, a kid that's under the radar because he's in the MAIS league, which is not the LHSA, but it's a lot of these are 8-man football teams. Claiborne Academy. Jackson Sharp. Jackson 6'3", 215 in weight. I think he's a sleeper for the D3 schools, kind of like Peyton. He's also about 6'3", about 215. He's got about 4.9 speed, 5 flat in the 40. Plays offensive tackle for his team and defensive end. Had 75 tackles in 2019. Pretty impressive. 75 tackles. And I wanted to mention him because a lot of people aren't talking about these MAIS league players. I think they need to be a part of the conversation. Continuing at defensive end at Benton High School, close to Bossier City, Rowe Thompson. Love that name, Rowe. 6'3", 225-pound defensive end for Benton. He's been a very big-time leader for that school for a long time. Started both tight end and defensive end for the team. He's got 4.89 speed, 4.9 speed in the 40. Very lean, carries it well. I love how he's all out. Plays hard. You know, he's just a tough kid. He broke a hand last year and actually played through that. And he's had a good season this year. He likes LSU and Louisiana Tech. He's always liked Texas A&M, ULM, ULL, and Northwestern State. And he's quoted to us by saying, "I'm looking for a good school spirit, a variety of academic programs, and student life." The senior will be majoring in business when he gets to college. And he says he can run a 4.75 40. I believe you. I believe you just look 4.8, which is about the same. It's a little, but most kids run 4.8 that are good athletic players. And his favorite players are Chase Young, which is now the Washington team. I always want to say Redskins, Washington team. J.J. Wyatt. Another defensive end that's hadn't played a lot this year, but he's got a lot of ability. Hudson Hilburn from West Monroe, 6'2", 230. Kind of a late bloomer. Has played behind a lot of older guys at the position. You know, West Monroe is always deep on D-line. Hudson missed a few games in 19 because of a rotator cuff injury that he suffered against Byrd High School. Now he's healthy this year, and he's, like I said, he's played some games, and you know, you've got the COVID stuff and all that, but he's stronger and bigger in 220, and he can run a 4.8 and a 40. He's going to be a big guy in college. I like Hudson. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to go to D-tackle for the All-Louisiana third team, North Louisiana team. We're going to be talking D-tackles. We're going to be starting with a guy by the name of Trey Rollins, who's a D-tackle for Oakdale. We'll be right back. So, hey, guys, just wanted to take a minute to tell you about Harvey Autos. If you need a new or used car, there's 3 great dealerships right here worth checking out. John Harvey Toyota, Harvey Subaru, and Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City. Low prices, honest people. Tell them Lee sent you. Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Scouting Report. I'm your host, Lee Burkeen. Again, hope everybody's having a great Thanksgiving weekend. We're going to be talking more about the All-Louisiana North defense, third-team defense from North Louisiana. Seniors only, no rankings, just we put everybody on a second, third, or first team. We're going to go to D-tackles, defensive tackles. Trey Rollins from Oakdale. I like this kid a lot. I actually watched Oakdale the other day for the first time. And Trey is, what I like about number 71, he gives you everything he has. He gives you everything, every ounce of energy he gives you. And he's got a motor. But what I like about Trey is that I think he could be an offensive lineman in college or D-tackle. He could be a nose guard. He could be a D-tackle. And I think he's a D3 guy. Could be a D2. It could walk on 1AA and be a starter in a couple of years. He enjoys basketball, track, and field, as well as hunting and fishing. He likes Louisiana Tech. That's where he wants to go to major in engineering. They have a great engineering program. And he's pretty strong in the weight room. He squats 435 pounds. He can clean 235. His favorite NFL player is Aaron Donald from the Los Angeles Rams, who played at Pittsburgh University. Trey is about 6'1", about 260, and strong. Like I said, he could be a 1AA walk-on that could start in a year or two. Another D-tackle from Natchitoches Central High School, Juan Nanez, who's a pretty strong kid. Pretty strong kid. They got a great D-line at Natchitoches Central. This kid power cleans 230, squats 435, benches over 300 pounds. And what's very impressive, he can run a 4.9 in the 40. and he's pushing 260. He also throws the shot put for the track and field team at his high school. He doesn't have any top schools, but he is considering places like Memphis and Arkansas Tech. He'd love to get a scholarship and play football. His favorite players are Quentin Nelson from Notre Dame, who's with the Colts, Dallas Clark, who's with the Colts, Ravens, and Buccaneers. Not the normal names you throw out. Good eye for talent, though, Juan. Continuing on at D-tackle in North Louisiana, or all Louisiana North, third team is Deverick Woods, 6', 275 from Airline High School. Here's a kid that he's got a lot of ability that's untapped. He's still raw, but he moves well. He's the perfect nose guard, I think. He's tough to move. He's tough to move for a center. And he gets off blocks in the running game. He carries his weight really well. He'll probably be in the 300-pound range when he's done, but very underrated. Another kid that I like a lot that's very underrated, kind of a late bloomer at Parkway in Bossier City. He'll be a nose guard, Cameron Garrick. You know, Cameron is about 6'2 and a half, 6'3", about 285, and moves really well. You know, Garrick could go to a 1AA school and end up blossoming into a D1 type player. This is one of his first years to play ball to start. Another kid that I like a lot at D-tackle that came out for really his first year to play a lot is at Bastrop High School, Robert Taylor. Robert's 6'1", about 250, really moves well. Could put on another 20 pounds and be that true D-tackle. We're going to go and talk about nose guards at D-tackle is DJ Newton, one of my favorite players to see the last 3 years at Plain Dealing High School around Shreveport. DJ is about 5'10", but he's about 290, and he's rock solid. I mean, he's just like he's like concrete. Great feet, high motor, all out. And I think he would make a great D2 nose guard or D3 nose guard, or could be a walk-on 1AA nose guard. Another defensive tackle that's a nose guard for the college level from North Louisiana, out of Mansfield, a guy I love a lot, Latavius Crump. This guy's humongous. He's 6'3", 350, might be a little heavier than that this year. Can move, and he takes up 3 blockers. That's what nose guards do. He's really strong. He might get his weight down a little bit in college, but a lot of these kids gained a little bit of weight over their senior year through COVID and not, practicing for 6 months. But Latavius is a diamond in the rough. I think he could be a nose guard at a 1AA school or D2, or might start D3 as a sleeper. Another nose guard who I think's got a lot of ability, but he's really just hidden at West Monroe, is Aiden Belloc. He's 6', 285, has really good feet, and I think he's a strong kid that could be a nose guard at the D2 level or D3. Could walk on 1AA somewhere. Very strong kid. I'm impressed with Aiden. Continuing on, and a little bit more about Aiden. His family is from Crowley, and he's super strong. In the weight room, he benches 370. Get this, he deadlifts 545. He squats 630. Wow. He's also had 40 tackles, 4 sacks, and 1 fumble recovery for a touchdown as a junior. He likes Tulane, LSU, UL, and Tech. He looks to major in pharmacy, health science, and or engineering. ULM might be one to consider for that, for pharmacy. He gives it his all. Another nose guard I like a lot in North Louisiana is Janarius Larry from Madison. In the Monroe area, he's 6'5", 350. Has a lot of ability. Janarius has come on late, and he would make that perfect nose guard. He's strong, tough to block. He can run about a 5'4" in the 40. And I think if he gets down to 330 pounds in college, he's going to be a guy that the D1 say, man, and we should have took him. But, needs to get his weight down a little bit. He can power clean 375 and squat 415. He likes LSU and State, Mississippi State. But he wants to go somewhere where he can play and fulfill his dreams and make it in the NFL one day. Larry is quoted to us saying, and I think he's going to be a good player. I think he's just very new. Another nose guard that I like a lot in North Louisiana from the Alexandria area out of Marksville High School is Orlando Simon. Or some people might say Simone. Orlando is a big-time player. I've seen Orlando play like a lot of these kids, and he's got really good feet. And he plays offensive line also for his team. He's legitimately 6'1", about 280, and I think he's a steal for a D2, D3 school. It could be a 1AA guy in time. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about linebackers. For all Louisiana North third-team defense linebackers, we're going to take a break and be right back.
Parents, are you looking for advice on getting your high school athlete recruited by the right college? Lee Burkeen is your answer. Lee has been doing it for over 30 years. He knows the ropes, and more importantly, he knows the people. Lee offers turnkey service from evaluation, creating highlight tapes in the correct format, and complete guidelines for effective communication with the schools. No matter the sport, girl or boy, no matter what grade your child is in, let Lee Burkeen help match your child to the right college fit. Go to our website, lafootballmagazine.com, and get connected today.
Welcome back. You listen to the Sports Scouting Report. I'm your host, Lee Burkeen. Today's show, we started off talking about LSU basketball and Louisiana natives playing basketball and where they play. And now we're talking about the All-Louisiana North defense, third team. Seniors only, no rankings. These are guys that just were trying to get their names out there because they deserve it, I think. I saw these kids play from my own eyes, and they deserve promoting. You know, they can go to D3 schools, a lot of these guys, D2. Some might have to go junior college, and some could walk on to some 1AA schools or D1 schools. If you want to play football, the dream can always continue. We're going to go ahead and talk about linebackers. We're going to talk about Mike linebackers. That's the middle guys in the field. And my first guy is from Bastrop High School, Denham Hill. He's very good player. Plays on a team that has a lot of talent on defense. They have about 6 kids that could sign scholarships on their defense this year. He's a tough kid. Runs about a 4.7 40. When he's not playing football, he told us he likes rodeo during the offseason. He's a big calf roper for the radio, and he uses that experience bringing down calves for the football field. He's got some great – I see why he's got great feet, and he loves Southern University, Alcorn State, and Grambling. In college, he plans on majoring in business management or agriculture economics. In the weight room, he benches 250 and squats 405. His favorite player is Tyron Matthew, Jacoby Paplin from Southern. And look, he had 60 tackles in 219 and 5 interceptions. And on offense in 219, he had 500 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns. His stats are not final this year, but I'm sure they're going to be very similar. Another kid who I think is a big-time linebacker for college, very much under the radar, at Huntington High School in Shreveport is Edward Clark Jr. I had a chance to promote his dad. I'm getting old. His dad played for Booker T. Washington back in the day, which used to be called Fair Park. But Edward Clark Jr., what I like about this kid, he's 5'11", about 215 in weight. He competes. He reads well. He might not run as fast as some of these guys hand timed that you see, but he competes, reads, reacts, and hits. He's all over the field. He can lift twice his body weight in the weight room. He squats 495. He benches 270. Power cleans 250. He's a big-time player. He's not getting the D1 stuff, but he likes Howard University. He likes Ole Miss. He plans on majoring in psychology. He's a smart kid. He enjoys reading in his spare time and cleaning and looking for something new to learn. But what a great player this kid is. And I like Edward Clark Jr. And I think wherever he goes, he's going to start. If he goes to a D2 school, he'll start. If he goes D3, he'll start. If he goes 1AA as a walk-on, or if he gets a scholarship 1AA, he'll start. His favorite NFL player is Jamal Adams of Lsu, who's now at the Seattle Seahawks. And, again, a big-time player. Another kid from the Shreveport area around Houghton, Louisiana, is Sean Hardison. He's another kid. He's a big-time football player. You know, throw away the hand times and all the size. He's 5'11", about 210. But he's just a big-time player. He's got a high football IQ that you can tell watching him play. In 2019, Sean had 93 tackles, 6 tackles for losses, 2 sacks, 3 fumble recoveries. He doesn't really have a favorite school, but he did grow up liking LSU. And he wants to major in sports medicine. He power cleans 275, benches 305, and squats 445. And I think he's just a football. Like I said, he's a football player. He can play Mike linebacker, outside linebacker. If he goes to a small school, they'll probably put him at DN if he gains a little bit of weight. Another player from a small school in North Louisiana, Lakeside, Timothy Erie, is 6'2", big-time football player. I've seen Timothy play in 2018 and 19. He's just a great athlete that's going to grow bigger and bigger every year. He's probably going to be in 225. He's grown into a linebacker over the years. He started as a DB. He's also in the track team and basketball teams. In 2019 for Lakeside High School, he had 78 tackles, 3 sacks, runs a 4.7 in the 40. He also is a 2-time defensive MVP of the program. Another player under the radar in North Louisiana for our third-team defense is Mike linebacker Raymond Johnson at Parkway. Raymond has been clocked at 4.54 in the 40. I think he can add another 15 pounds. He's 6'1", about 210 right now. Needs to fill out a little bit more. He wants to attend schools like LSU, Northwestern State, Alabama State, and ULM. He says, quote, "I'm looking for a college that will push me to be great as much as I can push everyone else around me." What a great leader quote that is. He's strong in the weight room. His top in the weight room is squatting 405 pounds. Great kid. Talked to him over the phone a few times over the summer, interviewing him. Raymond's got a great future, very much under the radar. Another linebacker under the radar in Shreveport at Green Oaks High School is Kelvion Chisholm. 6', 215, can run about a 4.7. Really his first year to play linebacker, he's grown into the position. Raw, but man, very, very athletic. Another player that's big-time player that I've seen the last 2 years from Alexandria High School is Rashad Thompson. 6 foot, about 190, 195. He can play football. Forget that he's not a huge kid. Forget that he's not a 4.5 guy. He's probably in that 4.7, 4.8 range, but he looks like he runs a 4.2 40 on the field. He's just a big-time football player. He reacts, reads, and tackles. I think he can play for somebody. Continuing on, we're going to take a break. We're going to talk about outside linebackers when we come back for our third team, All-Louisiana North team in North Louisiana for the 2020 season. We'll be right back. Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you. Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Scouting Report. I'm your host, Lee Burkeen. Today we're talking about the All-Louisiana North third-team defense. And next Tuesday we'll talk about the All-Louisiana North third-team offense. And then we'll go to our South teams next Thursday. Next Thursday we'll start with our offense, All-Louisiana South second team. And then we'll continue on with the second-team defense and the third-team offense, third-team defense for South for the next couple of weeks after that. Continuing on with our North team, defense, third team at linebacker, we're going to go to outside linebacker. I want to talk about a kid named Waltez Ford from Homer in Shreveport area. 6'1", about 190, 185, runs about a 4.7, but very athletic, very much can play ball. Forget the size. Waltez just needs to gain a little weight, which will come late. Once he gets to about 210, he would look the part. He already looks the part on the field. Continuing on in Shreveport, Booker T. Washington, a kid I like a lot at linebackers, Rashad Banks, who's about 6'1", about 220. Runs about a 4.7 in the 40. Very smart kid. Growing up, Banks liked watching the University of Houston because of Ed Oliver. And he liked Bradley Chubb of North Carolina State, who's now with the Broncos. And Joey Bosa, man, you got some good guys you like there. And then he's looking to continue playing his career in college. He likes Louisiana Tech, East Texas Baptist, and Jackson State. He's a guy that could play Mike linebacker or outside linebacker if he goes to a small school. Could go 1AA, could go D2, or could go D3, or maybe even go to a junior college. Another linebacker in the Shreveport area that's really come on this year is a late bloomer at Woodlawn High School in Shreveport is D. Corriere Shaw, who's 6 foot, about 220. Plays defensive end for his team, kind of up as a rusher. Might have to start off out of junior college, but this kid would be D1 for a lot of schools as a Mike or an outside linebacker coming out of junior college. Has true speed, 4.7, maybe even faster than that. Super tough. He might make his grades in the end, but if he doesn't, I think he'd be a great junior college player to sign back D1. Saw this kid play, man. He can play. He's big time. DeCorrier Shaw, big time linebacker. Another kid from the Alexandria area at Oakdale High School, pretty unique looking guy, Nick Holmes. That's right, from Oakdale. All of 6'5", about 200, 205 in weight. He's kind of in an in-between area where he's not too heavy to be a linebacker yet. He's not super heavy to be a DB. And he kind of plays in between as a DN, kind of as a DN for his team. He's going to probably be about 220 when he's done, and I think he could be a free safety, but he'll go to outside linebacker. And depending on how he grows, if he ends up growing 240, he could be a DN. But he runs about a 4.7 in the 40, maybe even faster. Last year in 19, he had 75 tackles and 5 interceptions. He's on the basketball team, and look, he's a third baseman and center fielder and pitcher for the baseball team. He loves his hometown ULM Warhawks, but he's looking at other options. And he's, quote, saying, "I'm looking for somewhere that my talents fit." I hope ULM gets this kid. I hope he goes there because he could really play there one day, even if he was to walk on. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about cornerbacks, defensive backs. We're going to start with corners. We're going to continue with our all-North Louisiana third-team defense. We'll be right back. Looking for a used car? Harvey Autos has 3 dealerships, which means 3 times the used vehicles. They've got everything from fuel-efficient compacts to luxury models, even hybrids, and certified pre-owned with a warranty. Check out John Harvey Toyota, Harvey Subaru, or Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City. Welcome back. You listen to the Sports Scouting Report. I'm Lee Burkeen, your host. We're talking about our all-Louisiana, North Louisiana third-team defense, seniors only. We did our second team last week. We did our first team this summer. This is our third team. These are guys that are very, very under the radar for colleges. And we're going to go with the cornerbacks. You know, defensive backs, you got corners, strong safeties, free safeties, and you got nickel backs. We're going to talk about cornerbacks. We're going to start with Cameron Collins from West Ouachita in Monroe. He's a 2-year starter. Can run about a 4.5, 4.6 in the 40. Plays the run really tough and the pass. Think he's a big-time sleeper. Continuing on at Parkway, they have a kid named Darius Patterson, who is about 5'8", about 160, runs about a 4.5 in the 40. He plays man defense. He thinks he's bigger, which I like. Very aggressive. I think he could play 1AA ball. It's hard to find a good, tough corner. I don't care how big they are, especially if they can run like Darius. At Richwood, they have a cornerback by the name of Deverick Brooks, who I had a chance to see this year, and he's a late bloomer. He's really come on the scene, man. This guy's about 5'8", 165. Can really play, and he's tough. Man, he's tough. Again, you can be 5'8", 5'9", and play corner in college if you are fast and you are tough. We're going to go ahead and go to free safeties for our Louisiana third-team defense. We're going to start with a guy from Homer High School around Shreveport, Terenzo Windsor. Love this kid, man. He's got a lot of talent. He's had to play linebacker and tight end for the team because they don't have a lot of big guys. So he's had to play where the team has needed him for 3 years. He's a 4-year starter. He runs a legit 4.5 in the 40. I think he's a free safety. And you don't get to see that. Now, you can see it if you have, like me, you see the upside in kids. That he's playing linebacker at 165 pounds at 6'1", when he's really a free safety at a 5A or 4A school. But he doesn't complain, and he gets the job done. I think he's a steal. At Bolton High School, I've had a chance to see this kid 3 years, KJ Gilliam. He's a 4-year starter. He plays safety and wide receiver. I think he's a tough kid. I think he's got some D1 ability in him, actually. He's just unknown. Had 105 tackles his junior year at Bolton High School around Alexandria, Louisiana. He's also a starter on the basketball team, and he's new in that sport, but I'm sure he's really good. He's 6'1", about 195 pounds. I tell you, this guy's got a lot of talent. Another kid that caught my eye the last 2 years is from St. Mary's High School in Natchitoches, Louisiana, Tristan Mitchell, 6'2", 185, has a lot of ability. Could probably be 200 pounds in college. He's a baseball guy, too. I don't know if he's going to go baseball in college, but I think he could walk on at Northwestern and be a heck of a free safety. He's a hitter. He can run probably 4.69 in the 40. I think he's a diamond in the rough. Continuing at free safety, I moved this kid to free safety from quarterback because I think this is probably where he would be better suited in college. From Bunkie High School, Graham Rebouche. Graham is a quarterback from Bunkie. He's 6'1", about 175, 180. And what I like about this kid, he's tough. And you can tell that he can bring that toughness to defense. He's a solid quarterback. And he does it all for his team. I mean, he threw for 1,000 yards in 19, ran for 500, had 8 touchdowns rushing, 7 passing. This is all in 219. Runs about a 4.7 in the 40. But he's a running quarterback. And that's what caught my eye. I think he would transform the defense because he's a tough kid as a free safety. He enjoys fishing, hunting, and farming. And as of now has no really favorite schools, but he wants to major in biomedical engineering or be a pediatrician. Smart kid, really smart kid. Strong safeties, we'll talk about them when we come back. We're almost done with the All-Louisiana North defense, third team. We're going to talk about strong safeties when we come back. And there are a few in the state in North Louisiana. We'll talk more when we come back. So, hey, guys, just wanted to take a minute to tell you about Harvey Autos. If you need a new or used car, there's 3 great dealerships right here worth checking out. John Harvey Toyota, Harvey Subaru, and Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City. Low prices, honest people. Tell them Lee sent you. Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Scouting Report. I am your host, Lee Burkeen. Man, there's some good players in North Louisiana for this third team defense, and we're going to continue on for strong safety at defensive back. This is a position that you're basically, you got to be a run stopper. You got to be a little bit smaller than a linebacker, but you got to be a really good tackler. You don't have to be as fast as a corner, but you got to be really good. You got to be aggressive. I like a kid at Ouachita by the name of Jeffrey Neighbors. 6'2", about 190. He's going to be probably about 200 in college. He runs about a 4.6 in the 40. He's one of those diamonds in the rough. He's coming off an injury last year. He missed most of 2019, and this year he's showing a lot of ability. Has a big frame. I think he's having a great year. I really do. He does work out with the track team, working on his running ability, even though he's not on the track team. In the weight room, he's very strong. He cleans 285. During his spare time, he says he's a member of the top teens in America. He's a smart kid. I like this kid a lot. I think he's got some D1 ability, actually. But missing his junior years kind of hurt him with film. But I think he's going to sign with somebody in the end. Continuing on at strong safety is Zolton Lewis, a kid from Southwood High School in Shreveport. Runs about a 4.6, about 5'11", 185. I like this kid a lot. He's a big-time hitter. He's way under the radar. I think he can play football. Not being listed by anybody, not ranked by anybody. Another kid from Bolton High School in Alexandria, Daquan Smith. He's a receiver and outside linebacker for his team. They need him at linebacker because they're kind of small on defense. But he runs a 4.55 in the 40. He's a very good athlete. Daquan Smith's got a lot of ability. Again, very unknown player before today. Another player that I like a lot, and the reason he's on this team, he's got the heart of a lion. He is just big time. Hayden Edwards from Union Parish High School around Ruston, Louisiana. Hayden, they don't come any tougher than Hayden Edwards. He's the leader of his defense. He loves the game. He gives it 110%. In 2019, he had 105 tackles, 16 of those for losses, 2 sacks and an interception. Runs about a 4.69 40, but looks faster on the field because he's so committed to the game. This is the kind of guy that if he was to walk on to a D1 school in the right defense, he would start in a year or so because he's committed, strong, and he knows the game. One of my favorite players in North Louisiana, and again, he's not ranked. Another player from Booker T. Washington, Sheldon Joyner Jr., who's about 5'10", 185. I'm impressed with his toughness. I saw him in 2019. He had 48 tackles. He plays outside linebacker for his team. He's really a strong safety, but they need him there. Again, they don't have a lot of size. Another big-time leader I like is Logan Anderson from Captain Shreve in Shreveport. This guy's got a huge heart, too. He brings it, man, when he tackles. He's a great leader. Runs about a 4.6 in the 40. Tackles well. He's never seen a tackle he didn't like. I mean, the guy's everywhere. He's all over the field. And, you know, Logan Anderson, there's somewhere for him for college football. Another kid from Manny High School, Reginald Mitchell, might be one of the best tacklers in North Louisiana. Runs about a 4.6. Sleeper, I think, for 1AA. He's just under the radar. Another leader, smaller player that plays kind of linebacker for Ouachita High School in Monroe, Kaylee Wheeler. He's only about 5'8", 5'9", about 175, but they don't hit bigger than Kaylee. Kaylee's one of the best hitters in North Louisiana. He has a nose for the ball, runs a legit 4.5 in the 40. He has that demeanor that you need to play D1 football. In 2019, Kaylee had 72 tackles, 6 tackles for losses, 4 forced fumbles, 2 pass breakups, 1 interception, and 2 fumble recoveries. He's big time. He's not a big guy, but some guys are just different. He's also a catcher, third baseman, and outfielder on the baseball team. And in the weight room, at 175 pounds, he squats 405, and he benches 265, and he's cleans 285. Big-time player. Another player from Ouachita Christian High School, who's really a big-time sleeper, really a linebacker for college, and he plays DB, safety. I think he's a safety, too. It's Aiden Ham from Ouachita Christian, 6'1", about 200, 195, just a big-time hitter. Has a nose for the ball. Another big-time player in high school, not a big kid from Ruston High School, Jacob Martin, about 5'9", 9.5, about 160. Probably the smallest kid on the Ruston defense. It's full of D1 players. Is one of the best football players on the team. I think he could play D3 ball, and I think he'd actually walk on to a 1AA school or even D1 and start over time. Another player on Ruston's defense that I think could be a strong safety is Aaron Wright. Aaron Wright is very underrated. About 6'2", about 185, and he's really got a chance to be a safety in college, really new to the game. Another player from Byrd High School in Shreveport, strong safety, Chris Grider, 6 foot, about 195. Chris has a nose for the ball. He's a great tackler. He's a great leader. Another player at Parkway, Noah Wolf. Not a big guy again, 5'9", 165. Great instincts. Big-time football player. Could go D3. Another player from Peabody that caught my eye, a new guy, Eric Gallette Jr., about 5'10", 175. Really tough kid. I think he could play college ball. Jalen Robertson, Logansport, strong safety. I think he's a guy that could play some D1 at some D1 schools, but he's very, very much under the radar at 5'11", 168. Definitely 1AA. Just, again, very, very much under the radar. I think Jalen's a guy that he's just got a lot of talent, you know. I really like this team. I think there's a lot of tough kids on this team. I think the ability of these guys are phenomenal. And, you know, if you want to play college ball and you don't want to go D3, D2, and just go to school, but at least we can promote you today. You know, not everybody wants to go play D3 or D2 football. And you don't have to, you can go 1AA and walk on, and you might get a D1 walk-on opportunity. And again, some of these guys might go junior college and then re-sign D1 or 1AA. They just need some more time to grow and fill out. But I hope everybody enjoyed the show today. We will talk to you Monday. We'll have our Monday show. We're going to recap the playoffs, and we'll recap what happens tonight. That'll be really fun. Talk about all the state playoff games Monday. Be sure not to miss Monday's show. And then Tuesday, we'll have our All-Louisiana North offense, third team, which we don't send that out. It's a bonus show we do. Just go to our podcast, wherever you get your podcast, the Sports Scouting Report, and check out next Tuesday's show for that list. It'll be a big one. There's a lot of offensive players in North Louisiana for third team. Again, everybody have a great weekend. Be sure to go to our website. Every kid we talked about today is in our magazine, the printed version. You can go to lafootballmagazine.com, our website. That's lafootballmagazine.com to get your North copy or South copy. We do 2 of them. They came out in early September for the 220 season. We'll see you Monday. Hope everybody has, again, a wonderful weekend.